Good morning. Happy Friday. It is a beautiful, beautiful day here in Mujan. I even have my office door open. I'm hoping that it will stay quiet outside and that I won't have to close the door. I have the kids off to school. I've done my walk. I've fed the ponies. Everything is good. And here I am with you this lovely Friday morning. And this morning, we're going to be talking about mindset. Mindset, the number one thing that I think makes a massive difference in your business in the longer term is your mindset. So I'm just going to pop over to the group while I'm waiting for some people to join and just make sure that I am live in there. Let me just have a quick look and see, am I live in there? Yes, I am live in there. I'm not actually seeing any eyes just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tag everybody to help them find me where I am. Let me see. There we go, and see if that makes a difference for people, because I know lots of people have signed up for this. I know it's an important topic for a lot of people. So, do you think mindset is important in your business, or do you think it doesn't really matter? Or maybe you think, oh, well, I have a really positive mindset, so, I don't really worry about that aspect of the business. So, I'm going to be sharing 4 tips for a bulletproof mindset this morning so that you have the will to keep going even when things go wrong. Because if you're in business for any length of time, you will know that things go wrong all the time. Things don't turn out exactly as you expected. You fail, you don't get clients, you go through periods where things are not so good in your business. And this is all normal, let me assure you. Hey, Montrose, Monrose, great to see you. I'm not sure if your name is Veronica or Monrose, or is it both? So just let me know in the comments. Say good morning if you're joining me here live. If you're here on replay, hashtag replay. And that really helps me. And I love to know who's here. I love when you interact with me. So if you have any questions at all around mindset, I am very happy to answer them. So try and get them in over the course of the live, though, because I tend to finish up fairly quickly. When I have my bits said, I have my bits said. So if you have questions, try and get them in early so I see them, because sometimes they'll appear on StreamYard, but they won't appear on Facebook video. So just let me know if you have any comments whatsoever. And this morning's session probably won't be that long. I just have 4 tips to share, but I think they're important tips, and there's something to really think about, to think around these ideas. So if you do have a pen and paper, pop and get a pen and paper and write down these 4 tips. And you can even journal around them. Really think about, how do I think about this, or how does this affect me, and how could I move forward from being stuck? Now, lots of people at the moment are talking about the idea that there's an economic winter going on at the moment, and that not a lot of people are buying. Honestly, I haven't really seen it in my business. But lots of people are talking about it. And sometimes we're affected by what people say around us. Actually, we're all affected by what people say around us. So it's very, very important to understand that maybe those people where they're getting their information is not really a source that's reliable, or maybe it's true for them, but it's not true for you. So we have to guard our mindset very, very carefully, and be very, very careful of what we listen to and who we listen to, because how we think so dramatically affects how we act and how we are in the world, and how we show up for ourselves and how we show up for our businesses. While a lot of people mightn't understand the importance of mindset, it's absolutely key. To me, it's the difference between turning up and being visible in your business, or hiding under the duvet, or not doing video or not putting posts out there or not promoting your business. That's all related to mindset. So who else is joining me here this morning? Veronica, yes, your name is Veronica. My question is around competitive people who try to discourage me from being a successful person and who copy my work. Okay, so brilliant question, Veronica, and absolutely one that I have wrestled with in the early years of my business as well. This idea that, you know, we're putting great content out there, we're making a big effort, and then people are coming along and copying what you are doing. And you know, it's all about mindset. And the first point that I wanted to make this morning in four steps for creating a bulletproof mindset. And the first one I wanted to make, and this will kind of cover Veronica's question as well. The first point I wanted to make is never compare your success to someone else's success. Run your own course. And this is the other side of the coin that Veronica is talking about, where somebody actually is either discouraging towards her or they're copying her content. Now, what you have to remember, Veronica, is you are always ahead of your copycats. You're always ahead. So people can copy you, but they probably can't stay up to you. It is inevitable when you're on the online world that people will copy. It is just part and parcel. You know, even initially when I started training consultants in online color analysis, there was nobody else training. There really was nobody else training people to do online color analysis. But then when COVID hit and, you know, when it became a necessity, loads of other companies started training online color analysis. Now, I could have had the mindset of, well, I thought of it first and I was doing it first and I did all the hard work and I, you know, dealt with all the objections up front, and now you're coming along and you're doing it. And I could have had that kind of mindset, but no, I didn't choose to have that mindset. I had the mindset that, well, I pretty much pioneered it. I was the first person out there with this. I have more credibility. And that's how I chose to look at this situation. And I think that's what mindset is about. It's about, how do I choose to look at this situation? How can I look at it from a different perspective so that it's more positive? So I often tell people now, I really pioneered the training of online color analysis. I'm sure there was other people out there teaching it, but I didn't see that it was mainstream before I started teaching it. So I've put a positive spin on the fact that I was the first and many people followed. It made me a pioneer. It's the same when people copy you. People have copied me. They've copied full posts. They've used my content. They've done all sorts of things. And while I would go back and I would say, you know, that is my content, there's not actually a huge amount you can do unless you have some kind of legal agreement around what you're doing. So I think it's very important to watch that mindset, because if we don't, what ends up happening is we end up becoming very bitter. We become bitter. And then we don't share freely. We don't share our content freely. We don't share of ourselves freely. And that is not conducive to business. If you have a fear mindset, a scarcity mindset, and you're not sharing what you know because of fear that somebody will copy you, then you're not going to be getting the steady flow of clients that you want. So moving beyond that fear and competition mindset, I think it's so important. And, you know, that's the first point I wanted to make, really, around, you know, comparing ourselves to other people, or getting on social media and thinking they're doing so much better, or they're copying me, or just being so focused on the competition that, you know, we're not really focusing on our own work. And unfortunately, social media creates that environment where, you know, we can see what everyone's doing. Everybody is turning out their best side and talking about all the things that they are successful in, which of course that's what you need to do on social media as well. You need to show your clients success, you need to show your success, because you're inspiring people. But when we get so caught up on what other people in our field are doing and focusing on what they are doing, then we kind of lose track of what we should be focusing on. So while I keep an eye on my competitors, I don't really see them as my competitors, because if you are creative, if you are creating your own content, if you are putting your own spin on things, you don't have to worry about your competitors. Really, you don't have to worry about your competitors. If you are in a unique niche, if you are creating something that's unique, if you have testimonials from your client, if you are putting yourself out there every day, there is no competition. There is no competition. And that is one mindset that's really, really important. Now, for this point, I thought it would be, I would share this exercise with you because I think it's a good one. And I want you to notice what you feel before you go on to, say, Instagram first thing in the morning. How do you feel? What's going on for you? And then get on social media and scroll through social media for 15 or 20 minutes. And then I want you to check in with yourself how you feel after the 15 or 20 minutes. I bet you feel not so good after that 15 or 20 minutes scrolling, because you're on there, you're seeing what your competitors are doing, you're seeing all of these highlights from people and how well they're doing. And meanwhile, you're just thinking, I'm getting no clients, nothing is going well for me. I don't look as good as that person. My branding doesn't look as good as that person. I didn't come up with that idea. How are they coming up with all the ideas? And this kind of, when we go down that road, down that mindset of fear and lack of abundance and scarcity, we end up wanting to run away and hide and feeling not good enough about ourselves. So then we won't turn up. We won't turn up in social media when we feel like that. So I think it's really, really important to understand that your only competition actually is yourself. Your only competition is yourself and your own mindset. So working on your mindset every single day and making sure that you're only consuming. What I mean by consuming is like watching things on Instagram, watching things on YouTube, watching things on TV that are inspirational and that are lifting you up and are keeping you focused on the right things in your business and in your life. If you are consuming the wrong things, you are going to be pulled down by a negative mindset and comparing yourself. So watching that, comparing yourself to other people is so, so important. And how do you stop that? Just block them, block the people, or unfollow the people that are not making you feel good. Simple as, why are you following people that don't make you feel good about what you're doing? So it's very, very important to notice first, what is the impact of what I'm consuming? What effect is that having on my mindset? And most people, the first thing they do in the morning is they open their phone and they start scrolling. Now, that may be a habit that you have to kick to the curb, because it's probably not improving your mindset if you're getting on social media and comparing yourself to everybody else and coming up short. It will not bode for the best day ahead. So, for instance, I like to start my mornings with something more inspirational. I listen to a podcast, or I read, or I'll journal. And the other thing that I always do is I post before I consume. So I learned this very, very early in the early days of my business. I'm a huge fan of Russell Brunson, of ClickFunnels. Some of you may have heard of him. Some of you may not have heard of him. Read all his books. I've worked with him for many, many years, and I love him. And one of the things that he talks about is be a producer, not a consumer. So the reason that you're getting on social media is to produce something, to create something, to post something, don't spend all your time on social media consuming, because it is not productive. It really isn't productive in that you're not putting content of any help out there or any value out there. And on top of that, you're consuming content that's not making you feel good about yourself, which will lead inevitably to even more inaction on your part. So it's really, really important to start to notice that the effect that social media has on you. Veronica said, thank you, Aileen. I need to do it in a way I feel comfortable with sharing, and also change my mindset to stay powerful. Someone told me you should be flattered that people copy you. Yeah, I mean, I never really got that thing that, you should feel flattered that people copied you, because honestly, I don't feel flattered when people copy me. I feel frustrated that they would copy me because, I spend time and effort in creating something. But then I make a concentrated effort to let it go. I would go back and say, you copied my content. Why are you copying my content? But I also know that whoever is copying me can't keep up with me, because those ideas that I'm sharing are original, they're my own work. And I know that much more inspiration will come to me, and I'll always be a couple of steps ahead. And the other thing I also know from many years of being in business is that it's, if you're copying people, you're not going to be in business for very long. Honestly, mark my words. You're not going to be in business long unless you're creative and you are doing your own thing, because you have to turn up day after day after day, and copying is just not the way to go. Okay, when people are starting out, they may copy a little bit, but eventually you have to start a little bit here. Hopefully you were able to hear all of that. If not, you can come back and ask me some questions. Yeah, it's perfectly normal. Veronica is saying that she's frustrated. It is normal to feel frustrated, but then move beyond that. Have your rant, journal, do whatever you need to do. Go back to the person and tell them that, you've noticed they've been copying you. Why are they copying you, etc. But I would then move beyond that, because that frustration and that, scarcity mindset will keep you stuck. So that was the first one. Never compare your success to someone else's success. Run your own race. I think that's really, really key. Number 2, stop looking at failure as failure and start looking at it as data points. In other words, learn from your mistakes, move on, notice the redirection that's happening. So, when you're in business for a long time, you'll know you will make mistakes. Things won't exactly work out the way that you want. You will have launches where you sell nothing. You will create events where nobody will turn up. You will create sales pages where nobody buys from the sales page. You will make mistakes. It is inevitable, absolutely inevitable in your business that you're going to make mistakes. But what you have to remember is that those mistakes are an opportunity for redirection. They're an opportunity for you to know what doesn't work. And business really, in many cases, is a case of trial and error. What works, what doesn't work. So, when I restarted my business here in France, I started out by running my personal styling business in the exact same way as I had run it the first time around when I worked in Singapore. But I realized pretty quickly, oh my God, I'm just not getting any clients on the ground here. There's not enough people who speak English. I don't have the same amount of time that I used to have, when I didn't have kids. The traditional model that I had of image consulting or personal styling did not work at the stage I was in my life, did not work with the community that I was part of here in France. So I had to look at that not as a failure, but as information to take forward and change my business model. So then I ended up going online, and I ended up being wildly successful online. So that wasn't really a mistake per se. It was just, I learned that, trying to get clients on the ground here in a small village in the south of France was really not going to work for me. And it wasn't, at the time, I thought I'd made a mistake. But looking back now, it wasn't a mistake at all. It was just a redirection to what I'm doing now. And there has been many, many points over the course of my career. And I'm sure you can look at the same thing. You can look at the exact same thing in your own career and see that many of the things that you thought were mistakes at the time weren't mistakes, but they were just redirections. And truthfully, if you're going to be successful in business, you have to take failure in your stride. You will have your first failed launch, and you're going to feel rotten. I can assure you, you're going to feel disappointed. You're going to feel like, I can't believe I put in all that work and it didn't work. I can't believe that, this didn't work out for me. My mentor told me it would work out for me, and it didn't work out for me. And you will begin to realize, oh, that's part and parcel of business. And I just have to pick myself up and try something else and get redirected. So having that mindset of being able to pick yourself up and get back out there is really, really, really important. And understand in the longer term that, there's something better out there waiting for you. Like, I have a very, very firm faith in the universe and in God or source or whatever you want to call it, that it's all been taken care of. And what I think is a mistake is really just being redirected in the universe. So I think it's really, really key to be able to hop back up and get out there again. Have your duvet day or have your half day where you eat a pint of ice cream or whatever. But then you have to get yourself up and get yourself back out there again, because you will fail and you will fail and you will fail in business, and you have to keep going. I have failed and I have failed and I've failed, but I've kept going. I consistently come back. I do not allow that failure to define me. And I think that's what the kind of mindset you need to have a successful business. So that's number 2. Stop looking at failure as failure and start looking at it as data points. Okay, number 3. You need to every day focus on positivity over negativity. So one of the things that I do, for instance, every day is I note down the things that I have done well. So what have I done well already today? When I kind of I recap several times throughout the day. I, got the kids to school. It was a very pleasant morning routine, and it was really nice. I've gotten my walk in this morning, which is amazing. I'm thrilled. I got my walk in. I fed the ponies. I love feeding the ponies. So I found nuts for them along my walk, and they love that treat. So I fed them. I'm here with you. I'm sharing with you. So I'm doing a marketing for my business. I'm giving back to my community. I'm building my community. All of these things throughout the day, I focus on the things that I have done well, because once you start noticing the things that you have done well, it will help you to keep moving forward. So speaking to yourself kindly, being really affirming to yourself will really, really help you to continue in that vein. It will really help you to continue to have that positive mindset where you're more likely to do the right things from that place. Whereas if you say, oh, I didn't do this and I didn't do that, like, you have to really focus on the small little things that you are doing every single day that is pushing your business forward. Because sometimes when we look at the bigger picture, we feel like we're getting nowhere. But when we've done even a few ticks on our to-do list, we feel so much better, and we're able to move forward, and do more of the things that are getting us a positive result. So what are a few things that you have already done this morning that have set you up for an amazing day? Maybe you have, eaten a healthy breakfast. Maybe you're sitting here listening to this video. This morning. That's a really, really positive thing. So you want to look at all the things that you're doing over and over again. So whether that's a walk in nature, listening to a positive podcast, or reading a chapter of an inspiring book, or doing some exercise, all of that is really going to help you feel so positive, and to notice that you're doing those things in your life and keep it moving forward. So lots of people talk about positive affirmations. Honestly, they've never hugely worked for me. But what has really worked for me is noticing the positive things that I have already done. Also, another idea is, if you feel a bit despondent about your business, one of the things you can do is you can keep a testimonials file or testimonials book, where you go back and you read the testimonials that your clients have given you. And if you remember, oh my God, I made a huge positive impact on, these people's lives, and I can do more of this. So when you read those testimonials, you feel good. So again, you notice I am telling you to feed your mind with positive things. I'm not saying false positivity. I'm saying that the majority of what you should be consuming is positive. It's positive, and it's in the direction that you want to go. So Veronica said, I find using colors is amazing to lift my mood. So then go and pick your favorite top and wear that. Do something creative. I find creating something really makes me feel good. So sometimes when I'm not feeling like doing the hard stuff, maybe I'll do something creative, and then I'll go back to the harder stuff, and it's easier to do once I shift how I feel, once I shift my mood. So that is number 3. Number 4, audit what you're taking in. I've spoken to this actually in the other 3 points as well. Who is the company that you're keeping? Who are the people around you? Because there is this famous saying that you're going to earn the sum total of the 5 people that you spend most time with. You're going to have the same mindset as the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So who are you hanging out with? Are you hanging out with people who are not helping you, who are putting you down, who are maybe saying, well, that's too ambitious, or maybe they're telling you, why would you bother doing that? Why don't you go back to your 9-to-5 job? These kind of people are not inspiring you. They are not helping you to get where you want to go. So you really need to build a community of people around you that are inspiring. And sometimes that means spending less time with people who are not so inspiring. So, pick your friends carefully, pick who you're spending time with carefully, because they will negatively impact what you achieve. So an example of this is when I started my business, I was spending a lot of time with people, because I wasn't really working, going for coffee and going for hikes and doing all those things. But I realized, oh my God, these people have completely different goals to me. Their goal is, to fill in their day while the kids are at school. They have no ambition to set up a business. They have no ambition to be successful in business. So I needed to kind of extract myself from that situation. I'm not saying like give up all your friends or give up hiking or give up going for coffee. That's not what I'm saying. But I realized I needed to have a different kind of lifestyle. I needed more time on my business, number one. So going on 4-hour hikes while the kids were at school really wasn't an option for me. I go for coffee with my friends. Of course, I go for coffee. I'm going for coffee at 12 o'clock actually with a friend. But I don't spend my whole morning. I don't go with the moms, when they drop the kids off of school, because I have to come home and spend a certain amount of hours in my business. So who you're hanging around with you and the influence they have on you is really, really, really important. So who are you hanging around with, and are they helping you to achieve your goals? You also need to hang around with people who kind of have achieved what you're looking to achieve. And that's where masterminds come into play. That's where, group programs come into play, where everybody is trying to reach the same goal as you. And you can see that other people are doing what you're looking to achieve. I think that's really, really key. You begin when you're in the environment, like say my certified online color expert program. When you come into my program, you see all of this. There's over 80 consultants, nearly 90 consultants in there, and they're doing online color analysis, and they're doing their thing, and they're asking questions, and you're talking about the thing that you want to do. And that is so, it builds confidence, it builds self-esteem, it builds the feeling that I can do this too. But if you're, hanging around with people who are not doing any of this stuff and hoping to be inspired with them, you're probably not going to be inspired by them. So find people who will inspire you. So for instance, if you are a personal stylist and you want to become, a personal stylist that brings in decent income, this is the community to be in. You are listening to this right now. You are doing something positive toward reaching your goals. That's what I'm talking about. You need to surround yourself with people who are looking to achieve the same goals as you. So, audit what you're talking in. Who are you talking to daily? What are you reading daily? What are you doing daily? If it isn't in alignment with what you're trying to achieve, you have to remove it from your daily habits. It's really a daily habit. So one of the things I had to do when I started my business is I started getting up really early, because I found that I needed that couple of hours before the kids got up to start work for the day. Then I took the kids to school, and then I work on my business. Yes, I do take time out of my business to do other things, but my main focus is my business, because that's what I want my business to be a success. I want to be doing this. And, now because I'm 5 years in, I definitely have more time to do the things I love. But when I started, I didn't have a lot of time, because those initial years are really important to build momentum. So with that, those are my 4 tips. And I think all of those tips are very, very, very doable. I don't think there's one tip in there that I mentioned that's really difficult, but it might be worth journaling around each of these tips and seeing, where am I falling down? Am I consuming something that isn't really helping me? Am I hanging around with people who aren't really helping me? Am I on social media watching people who are not helping me? And is this making me have a negative mindset, which is holding me back in my business? So Danya said, it's amazing how many posts you do every day. Oh, Danya, I don't post every day, actually. I don't do many posts every day. I just post every day. I do one post every day. And that's my habit. My habit is to be consistent. And I think that's my mindset. My mindset is I turn up every day. I do a post every day. That is a mindset shift. It's not that I post more than once a day. I mean, many people will tell you have to post more than once a day, but I felt that is unrealistic for me. I feel like I can post once a day and I consistently stick to that and turn up to do that. Having kids and family, I'm not sure what that one's about. Yeah, having kids and family. Yeah. And oftentimes, just one more point before I leave, I often find that definitely when I was starting out in my business, my family weren't the most encouraging, honestly. Now, the reason they're not so encouraging is because, of course, they want you to stay safe, they want you to be happy, and they don't want you to, have to go through all of the things. And maybe there's a little bit of jealousy there. I don't really know. But oftentimes our family is not the most supportive when we're starting out. Mine definitely weren't. Now they don't really care. They don't really comment anymore. They started out by following me. Somewhere along the way, they stopped following me, and I'm actually happier with that. But what I'm saying is, you have to get beyond that. You kind of have to get beyond that fear that they're not supporting me. Even my husband, until I started making money, he was kind of thinking, why are you spending all this time online? Why aren't you here with me and the children? And there is a point in that as well. There is a balance between how much time you spend with your family and how much time you spend in your business. But the point I'm trying to make here is that your family won't always be the encouraging ones, and that's okay. Move beyond that story and find people who are encouraging. Because I used that story for ages. My husband really isn't supporting me in this new purpose in my life. And then I just had to realize that is a story that's holding you back, and just move beyond it. And when I dropped the story, it's like he didn't care either. So it's really, really important to really know what is holding you back, what is going on in your mind, and, just drop the things that are not useful to you. So Michelle said, thank you for these tips, Aileen. These are the things I had planned to do this year. So this is refinement. Brilliant. I'm so, so happy that, this is helpful for anyone watching it. I have found that the biggest piece in having a successful business is actually mindset. You have to be in the right place. You have to have habits in place, and routines in place that keep moving you into a positive mindset, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it if you're going to be in business for a long time. So being in communities, listening to inspiring things, and having support of a coach and a mentor is very important as well. So with that, I am going to leave it there for this week. It went longer than I thought it would, because I thought, I've only 4 points. But you got me in a talkative mood this morning. So you got me talking around the points, which is amazing. So have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead. I'm off to have coffee with my friend. And the sun is shining out here in the south of France, and I'm going to look forward to having a great day after this. If you have any comments, pop them underneath this video. If you have any questions, if you're watching on replay, #replay. And with that, I'm going to leave you for this week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend ahead, and I will chat to you all again really soon.